Hello and welcome to today's webinar hosted by the Wyoming Community Navigator program. We're so glad that you've joined us today. My name is Devin Costa-Cargill. I'm the Regional Director of the Bighorn Basin, or the Northwest corner of the state, for the Wyoming Small Business Development Center Network. Today, I will be your facilitator, and I'll be working behind the scenes and monitoring the chat and the question functions to assist you and hopefully help with any technical difficulties should they arise. The Wyoming Community Navigator Pilot Program is funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, and it utilizes the Wyoming Entrepreneurial Support Network to reduce barriers all small businesses often face, including those owned by groups such as veterans, women, and individuals from rural communities and communities of color. The Wyoming Community Navigator program uses a hub and spoke model to pursue its goals, and through the collective efforts, the hub and spokes provide training, mentorship, access to capital, and access to other resources to help your business build resiliency and ultimately be the driving force behind Wyoming's economic recovery. The Wyoming SBDC Network is a University of Wyoming program available to all residents in the state and funded by the Wyoming Business Council and the U.S. Small Business Administration, or SBA. We provide no-cost, confidential advising and technical assistance to all Wyoming entrepreneurs and small business owners. The Wyoming SBDC Network advisors are located throughout the state. You'll see that I'm located in the little map ping for Powell there, but there's 6 of us. In addition to our state department, we not only help new businesses get started, but we also help current owners with growth, reinvention, exiting and succession planning, and recovering from a variety of challenges in their businesses. Specifically, today's webinar, How to Secure Funding for Your Small Business, Tips from Lending Experts, is presented by Alexandria Smith of the Wyoming Women's Business Center, Kendall Hutchinson of Wyoming Capital Access, Sam Weinstein of Wyoming Smart Capital Network, Tammy Hanshaw of the SBA, and myself, Devin Costa-Cargill of the Wyoming Small Business Development Center Network. So there's a crew of us, and we will be here to answer any questions regarding the Wyoming Small Business Development Center Network and the role that we can play in assisting your small business's financial goals. So we'll go ahead and pass it over to our wonderful group of speakers today.
Hi, everyone. I think I'm kicking off the webinar. My name is Alexandria Smith. I am the Microloan Director for Wyoming Women's Business Center, if you couldn't tell by the giant logo on that slide. WWBC has a long history of enabling and empowering Wyoming small businesses that spans well over 2 decades. We definitely couldn't make the impact that we do without some of our vital partners, a few of which are listed on the bottom of this slide. And I just want to say thank you for having me. WWBC, as a nonprofit organization, strives to accomplish our mission to empower Wyoming entrepreneurs, especially women, through our counseling, training, and microfinance programs to start, expand, and sustain small businesses throughout the entire state of Wyoming. As an organization, we strive to advance self-sufficiency and equality. I will touch briefly on our business education program and artist development program, and then I'm going to dive further into our micro-lending program, which of course is my favorite as the director. Our business training and counseling programs provides hundreds of hours of educational content and webinars, as well as one-on-one counseling and training with small business owners, all at zero cost. These programs are designed to meet small business owners where they're at, whether that's the idea phase or 10 years into a business. This program includes one-on-one counseling, live and recorded webinars, and live expert discussions to develop a business plan, develop projected financials, and provide education surrounding capital. We are continually introducing new programs and content, so it's a great idea from time to time to visit our training page. It's listed at the bottom of the slide. We always have something new going on. Our artist development program is run in conjunction with our Works of Wyoming store, or WOW store for short, in downtown Laramie. Our store is hitting record sales numbers both in store and online, and we have partnerships with over 75 Wyoming artists across the entire state. WOW has an open call to all Wyoming artists and artisans once a year. Within the artist development program, we offer one-on-one counseling and groundbreaking programs such as the Works of Art that assist artists with all aspects of their small business, creative or otherwise. We are also continually updating our retail space with new curated pieces. So if you're in the Laramie area, it's definitely worth a stop in. If you're not, there's always our online store as well. All right, now we're going to take a deeper dive into our lending program and resources, my personal favorite. Our lending and financial counseling program provides funding to small businesses for startup or expansion needs from $500 to $50,000 with terms of up to 10 years. We serve small businesses throughout the entire state of Wyoming, and while we are a women's business center, our lending is equal opportunity. Business owners are required to be both Wyoming residents and operating within the state of Wyoming to qualify. Our lending program is really designed to be an option when traditional commercial lending from a bank or a credit union is not an option, and our rates reflect that. Currently, our interest rate range is 8.75% to 10.25%, and closing fees do apply. These microloans are not designed, again, to directly compete with commercial lending, but rather provide a fiscally responsible lending option between commercial lending and options such as personal loan or credit card. These rates and terms are also always available on our website, wyomingwomen.org/microloans. As a nonprofit lending program, we can look at businesses more holistically, often removing traditional lending roadblocks such as businesses' age, difficult owner's credit, lack of collateral, lack of equity, that list goes on and on. We can often fund a small business where there are no other lending options available. And then we're able to follow that up with really high quality business counseling, support, and resources to ensure that business succeeds. Let's dive into what I mean by support, because that can be a really general term. At WWBC, the success of a small business is equally important as the success of the owner. We want to make sure both are thriving. To do that, we not only provide hard to access funding, we also provide one-on-one business counseling continuously, financial resources, and ever-developing partnerships to learn and build finances and credit on the personal and business side. We also offer empowering webinar content because we know firsthand that small business ownership is one of the hardest jobs out there. We also just recently introduced some mental health options for entrepreneurs. It's actually coming out, drum roll, in 2 days onto our website. So we are always working to provide new and up-to-date resources to meet all the needs of our business owners, no matter what the industry they operate. You will hear, how can I support you further, a lot as a WWBC microloan client. This is the secret recipe to our program. You provide the talent and the hard work and the knowledge, and we meet you with the support and resources to create your idea of success for your small business. If you or anyone you know is interested in any of our programs, the best way to get the ball rolling is to visit our website and complete our client intake form by clicking the giant sign up now button. You can't miss it. From there, you're going to receive an invitation by email to schedule a welcome meeting with our client coordinator. She does a really amazing job of listening to your small business's needs and priorities, and then really connecting you with a highly customized plan of action. We are absolutely passionate about the development of each small business through the business plan, understanding current financials, financial projections, and beyond. Each small business client is unique, and our plan to support you is equally unique. I have mentioned quite a bit of information in these past few minutes, and I know my camera's not on, but that is me. It's not some random person. But moving forward, we do have quite a few places to research and learn more about WWBC. If you scan this QR code, if you're tech happy like I am, not only will it provide you with my contact info, but it also links you to WWBC's website and our socials. We are constantly offering new programming and educational content to clients, so it's really important to check in with us or follow us on social media to make sure you're up to date with all things WWBC. I do want to finish up with a quick thank you for inviting our organization to be part of the presentation and for all the work that really goes into hosting an event like this. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Alex. That was wonderful. We've dropped a couple of helpful links in the chat on the GoToWebinar control panel regarding the programs Alex mentioned in her presentation. We're going to hop over to Kendall now from the Wyoming Capital Access to run through his presentation. Thanks for joining us, Kendall.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Oop, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, I don't want to share my screen. Let me get out of there. Apologize.
All right, I've got it on my end, Kendall. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for having me. I'm Kendall Hutchinson. I'm with Wyoming Capital Access. So we're here to help some of the small businesses here on the call have a greater understanding of some financing options. So I'm happy to dive right into the presentation. Our mission statement here at Wyoming Capital Access is to provide access to capital for Wyoming small businesses, to foster economic development solutions that grow jobs, businesses, and communities. Our organization, along with everyone here on the call, want to do our part to see Wyoming prosper and grow and create jobs and create opportunities throughout the state. We are licensed as what's called a certified development company. This license comes from the Small Business Development Center, or not from the Small Business Development Center, sorry, from the Small Business Administration. We're licensed by SBA as a certified development company to offer the SBA 504 program. That is the bulk of what I'll be presenting today. If you could go to the next slide. But first off, before I get into the 504 program, I'll share some information on our direct loan program. There are other CDCs throughout the country and a few in our state, but what makes us different is that we are entirely staffed by Wyoming citizens. We serve the entire state, and we give back to small business owners through our direct loan program. The profits that we've generated can be relent out into the communities for loans of up to $250,000. These typically don't meet conventional lending standards. This loan program, we can lend directly to a company or in partnership with a bank. We would never want to compete directly with a bank, but this program can help fill a gap. This is for for-profit businesses. They have to be US citizens. The use of funds can be for land, buildings, machinery, equipment, furniture and fixtures, inventory, or working capital. Similarly to some of the partners here on the call, the borrower has to be unable to get 100% traditional commercial lending. So this is a program that can fill that gap. The interest rates on the direct loan are more closer to what you'd see in the market, closer to prime, which is about 8.5 now, and the term would depend on the assets that are being financed. Next slide, please. So the 504 program is our main program. It's our focus. Our portion of a loan can be up to $5.5 million. There are 3 partners involved. It's us, the small business borrower, and a bank. The eligibility has to be for fixed asset financing for a privately held for-profit business. So when I say fixed asset financing, I mean land, an owner-occupied building. It can be for the new construction of that building. It could be for the renovations of that, the remodels, and it can be for machinery and equipment. So it's more limited. It couldn't be for working capital or inventory needs. These are for fixed assets that have a long-term effect on the business that goes beyond 10 years. Again, think of it as a three-legged stool. us as the CDC, a private lender, and the borrower. Next slide, please. So diving into this a little bit further, how these are structured is the bank would be in typically at 50% loan to value, and that's a big benefit to them. Us as the CDC would be in at up to 40%, and the borrower benefits from a lesser down payment than if they were to go just with a traditional lender and not a 504. It can be for startups, and in SBA's eyes, a startup is a business with 2 years of operations or less. Or if there's talk of a special use property, if it's a startup and a special use property, that down payment though does increase up to 20%. A special use property might be things like a bowling alley or a gas station or a hotel, where the property really only has one specific use. The big things to hit on here, the borrower benefits, a low down payment. Traditional lenders may require 25, 35% down from the borrower, and that can restrict maybe the cash reserves that they have to operate their business. What the main driver that the borrower benefits from a 504 is they have a fixed long-term low interest rate. So the 504 rates are set nationwide, and historically they are about 2 percentage points below prime. And prime is the benchmark interest rate the banks use. So if you say you have a subprime interest rate for a borrower, that's a big indicator. So our rates just for this month are about 6.4%. I know it's not quite what interest rates were in COVID or shortly thereafter, but it's less than prime, which is less than what a bank would typically charge. So that's a big attractor right there. And the collateral is usually limited to the financed assets. So if it's land and building, typically there wouldn't be a need for other assets to serve as collateral. You need a bank that's involved, and to get them involved, what attracts them as well, it offsets their risk to a significant degree. They're highly regulated, so this program helps manage their lending limits. It could reduce exposure into certain industries, and it may offer them the ability to offer other products. Again, a 504 can't be for working capital needs, so maybe with a 504, a bank would be more inclined to offer a working capital loan than otherwise they might be. And the community at large benefits. We have an economic development role to fill, and each project we note job creation, job retention. So through this work, there's capital investment and can stimulate other businesses. Next slide, please. This is just a visual of how a loan would be broken out. Again, the 50, 40, 10 split. The bank benefits, so there's risk exposure, is largely offset when they're at 50% the value of the loan the bank has as risk. They're in what's called senior position, first mortgage position. So in the event of a default, bankers always like to know how things are going to shake out. Worst case scenario, this program's attractive to them because the bank gets paid back first before Wyoming Capital Access would, in the event that a business goes through default and those kind of nasty things. But again, just to highlight here, we're in second position. The fixed rate for 10 to 20 years gives a lot of cost certainty to a borrower. Some commercial loans may have balloon payments or interest rate fluctuations, but with the 504, you're locked in for the long term, and there are fewer surprises. And you can benefit from having less of a down payment than you otherwise might be. Next slide, please. So for the analytical people that are on the call, you could probably punch a few holes in this slide. This is just a little bit of number crunching to show the cost savings of a 504 in the long term. Again, you could change the interest rates. You could tinker with any or all of these metrics, but the interest rate that they might get on a conventional loan, and I did this several months ago, I assumed an 8% interest rate. With a 504 loan, 40% of your loan is at 6% interest rate. So blended, you're closer to somewhere in the 7s. So if you think long-term, 20, 25 years, that could save you significant amount of money. But just up front, you could have significant cost savings from not having as much of a down payment. So I welcome people to look this over. Sure, you could change the numbers anywhere you'd like in here, and I'd be happy to visit with you about it. But next slide, please. So the steps for an SBA 504 loan, we're here to guide banks, borrowers, anybody through the process. One of the main things is you'll need interest from a commercial lender. We largely partner with state and regional banks in Wyoming. We have some that are national banks as well, and we'd be happy to refer a business borrower to bankers that we've worked with. We have an online application that a borrower can start. The rest of these bullet points here largely reflect what a bank would also need. So it's best if we and the bank can work together so the borrower doesn't have to become frustrated with the paperwork and sending things more than once to different people. So if we can get on the same page with the banker, some of this work by the borrower can only be done once. So next slide shows a few more things that we would need. Largely, it's the same thing that a bank would need. We need to show and provide the project to SBA very thoroughly what the project is, what it covers, how it's eligible, that there's third-party evidence of these things. That's our job to sift through the weeds. And we'll have constant updates and ongoing conversations with the bank and the borrower throughout the process to make it as smooth as possible. So the next few slides I can just touch on briefly. Goes into the process at each step. So those first two slides were documentation we need to present our credit memo to our local committee and to SBA. These are the things that we'll need for approval. We'll need to go inspect the site, tax returns and verification of those. There is an environmental component. It can start with very minimal baseline, what's called a record search and risk assessment. If need be, the environmental may trigger a phase 1. But we walk people through all of those things. We can go to the next slide. We have SBA approval. So once we present the package to them, we prepare for the loan closing. And if it is a construction loan, this is a really critical piece in time, place and time, where the banker can move forward with the project, feel comfortable that the 504 loan will come into play. Again, the borrower is going to have 2 loans, one to the bank and one to SBA. If it's a construction project, the main lender will be at a little more risky exposure during that time. SBA won't fund the project until construction is complete. Once construction is complete and the business demonstrates that it's doing the things they said they would do in their business plan, they're meeting their debt requirements, then the 504 loan will fund. So there is a lag between when a loan closes and when a loan funds. But again, if everything goes according to plan, The SBA loan offsets risk of the bank. It pays off the bank that 40%, and the borrower then gets that lower rate on the 40% loan. So next slide, please. I touched on this just a minute ago, the difference between funding and closing. So we can move on from here. Okay, following funding, payments are made to what's called a central servicing agent. So just for reference, all of the 504 loans nationwide are pooled, and the interest rate nationwide is set. These things are kind of done at a grand scale. But once the loan funds, there is ongoing servicing of the loan in the portfolio that we do. We'll collect tax returns of the business, and we'll want to gather job data for what the job creation actually was at the 2-year mark. But all in all, we sift through the details that go along with the 504 program. Again, it offers a lower down payment and an attractive interest rate to the borrower. On projects, the range of projects can be anywhere from $25,000 to $5.5 million. So it can cover a wide array of things. And there is our contact information. I can turn my camera off, but I wanted people to get a face to a name. Thank you again for inviting us here to present. Folks, feel free to contact us if you have any follow-up questions. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Kendall. Well, I got you right here. I have a question for you. Could you clarify what operating capital means in terms of these loans?
Operating capital.
Yeah, you mentioned that you can't use the loans for operating capital, and I think we're just looking for a little clarification on what constitutes.
Yes, so things that are, you could take inventory, for example. You know, someone has maybe a revolving line of credit to cover their inventory needs. A 504 loan wouldn't be eligible for that.
Perfect, thank you. All right, thank you, Kendall. I'm gonna jump over to Emily and Sam from Wyoming Smart Capital Network to talk about their organization.
Thank you. So my name is Emily Kramers. I'm with Wyoming Smart Capital Network. Also on this call is Sam Weinstein. He's our loan development officer. Wyoming Smart Capital Network has been in Wyoming for a little over 10 years now. We kind of consider ourselves one of Wyoming's business finance partners. So what our mission is that we really want to drive economic development in Wyoming by increasing access to financing for small businesses. We really want to grow communities, and we want to do that through a positive partnership. So what does that look like? That positive partnership is we are partnering with banks in Wyoming to help small businesses grow. We want to serve you so that you can serve your customers. So what does that look like? Smart Capital, we offer what is called a growth capital program. So that provides banks with access to capital that helps you, whether that is keeping your working capital on hand, closing a collateral gap on your loan. We kind of look at that as sometimes there's a gap in what a bank needs and maybe what a small business is missing to secure that financing on your business. We keep it really simple. It's a one-time process. It's one loan payment. It's a very simple application. It'll be sent to your banker. They will walk you through it. What's really nice about this is the bank sets all of our terms. We go secondary to the bank, so it's not another process. Our payment is basically grouped in with the bank's payment. So when you pay the bank, our payment comes out of that. So you're not paying two different companies, you're not paying two different payments. It's all just in one. It's very simple. It's a really easy, streamlined process. And that's something we really want to offer Wyoming is extra financing, but at a really simple, easy pace. We want it to be something that, you know, makes sense. We want it to be easy to understand. We want it to fit into your project really well because we want you to grow your business ultimately. That's what we are here for. So our program is a participation. So we can participate on your loan up to 25% of the total loan amount. So what we're doing is we are assuming some of that risk on your loan by subordinating our position. So some terms that, you know, your bank will be looking at is, you know, we can do a term of up to 10 years, a maximum participation of 1 million, and there is a fee of no more than 1%. So some projects that we can participate on, equipment, working capital, real estate, business purchases. We can work on construction, but it is only eligible in some certain counties in Wyoming. Now that is something that, you know, if construction is something you're looking at, we would discuss it, go over that process with you. There's no right or wrong stage of business you have to be in, whether you're a startup or you're expanding. You know, we have helped both. We're in all different industries, startups, expansions, you name it. So there's no right or wrong answer. You can certainly start with the bank, or you can come to us if you have questions and want to start with us maybe. So we work at the speed of business. As I mentioned earlier, we want this to be a quick and easy process. You know, we can get a project reviewed and approved in as little as 2 weeks, where that process, you know, comes in so handy with being secondary to the bank as they set the terms. We use their paperwork. So the information that you are giving to the bank already, we go off of that. We're not requiring extra information outside of our application. So that makes it really easy for us to get what we need and get it done pretty quick. So a little bit more about us. Over the 10 years that we've been around, since about 2012, a look at some of the industries that we are in. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. We've done retail, we've done tech, manufacturing and processing, hospitality, service, healthcare, energy and construction. In our time, we have done over 22 million in funds deployed. Right around 232 small business loans have been supported. That's looking at right about $150 million leveraged for small businesses. And over 2,000 jobs have been created in Wyoming. Something we're really proud of. We want to see Wyoming grow. We want to help you. We want businesses to succeed in Wyoming. So we do have banking partners all over the state. We have partners that, you know, we continually work with. So that is something that if these banks here are an existing banker of yours, you can certainly start with them. Or maybe you're thinking of a project or you're looking at expanding, but you don't know where to start. That's where our network comes in really handy. You can come to us and say, you know, I have a project, but I don't know where to start. Depending on your area, we can give you access to contacts as a great place to start. Reach out to this bank or this lender, or we can really kind of guide you in a really nice direction of just some resources, connect you with someone that can get you started. So we want to kind of give you a look at maybe the process of what it's going to look like on your side. So this is Zoe. So she was an architectural engineer by profession, and her passion was cooking. So her name is Zoe. She decided that she wants to share that cooking. She wants to make it a little bit more than just a passion. So she started as sharing her baklava with her friends on Facebook, which that grew kind of rapidly, and which is a great thing, but it grew more than she had the space for. So a local restaurant kind of reached out to her and asked her if they could sell her products. So then she realized she needed a bigger space for production. Her home was no longer capable of fitting her needs. she had just grown so rapidly. So she rented a space in a strip mall. It had a small industrial kitchen, and she also began to serve meals there. She grew what she was offering. Because of that, word kind of spread quickly. So it spread quickly about her food and how great it was. And so her establishment, called Sweet Zoe's, was doing really well, and she was getting wonderful reviews. She was getting 5 stars. And again, it grew. And so she was facing another situation where she outgrew her resources and her space. And so she realized that owning her own place was something that, was in her sights. She wanted to do more than just sell food. She wanted a really impactful and great dining experience, and she wanted to be able to offer that to more people. So she approached First State Bank for a loan, and this is coming from her loan officer, Brittany Tromble. She said when Zoe approached First State Bank for a loan, she was really impressed by her incredible understanding of the business, as well as the quality of her character. So these loan officers, they really care about your business. They want to see it grow. So the bank came to us with a participation. So we took that on. We really liked the project. It was really sound. So we did that, lowering the bank's risk. So Zoe was able to secure the credit that she needed. So she was approved for a loan of about $600,000, and we purchased just over $130,000 of it. And so she was able to secure that new place and grow her business. And she has done really, really well with it. She's been super successful. If this is something you want to look at, she's in Casper. There's a code down here, or you can Google Sweet Zoe or go to sweetzoeshop.com and check her out. She has a really wonderful story. She's grown, and she's a really great example of small businesses in Wyoming and why we want to. So that's a little bit about us and what that process might look like for you. You have a business, you want to grow, go to a bank. If you need a little extra, that's where we go. So that's kind of what we do. As always, if you have questions, you can reach out to myself or Sam Weinstein. He is our loan development officer. We have a lot more information listed on our website as well. We also have a location in Cheyenne now. We have an office. If that's something you'd like to stop in, have a meeting, that is where Sam is located. So feel free to reach out to him. We're always available with questions. We're here to help. We want you to grow your business. And if that's something you're looking forward to, let us know. That's what I've got.
Hey, thanks, Emily. Thanks, Sam, for being here today. I've got kind of a good question for both you and Kendall's programs. Once a loan is processed through the programs, does all of the work and communication revert back to the bank once it closes, or does the borrower remain in contact with you guys?
So for our program, most of our communication is actually done primarily with the bank. That being said, I mean, anyone can reach out to us if they want to start the process, and we can reach out to their banker. But typically, someone will come to their bank and then they have a good project but need a gap filled. And so their banker will come to us, we'll send an application. Typically, the banker will help the small borrower or the small business owner fill this out or give it to them to fill out. And then they bring that back, they send it to us along with our required documents that they already have. And then we close the loan, everything's sent back. So the small business owner is actually not required to communicate with us at all, actually. And once that loan is done, there's no extra communication or no extra process that needs to be done with us.
Wonderful, good to know. I'm going to pass things over to Tammy from the SBA now.
Thanks, Maureen. All right, so hi everybody. My name is Tammy Hanshaw. I'm the Lender Relations Specialist with the Small Business Administration, and we are a cabinet level federal agency, and we work with small businesses to help them. Our mission is to help small businesses to start, grow, expand, and recover. Maureen, you can move my next slide, please. So this is our mission, and how do we do that? Next slide. These are the 3 ways that we can assist small businesses. The first is that we do provide access to capital through our partner lenders. We also have some great resource partners, many of them you've already met here today, that can help with the education end. And then we also help with contracting and procurement assistance. So if you're looking to get into federal contracting, we can help you with that as well. Next slide, please. This is our team. Amy Lee is our district director. We have only 4 of us. We are small but mighty. We do serve the entire state, even though our office is here in Casper, Wyoming. Next slide, please. So this is actually going to be pretty quick on my part because, like I said, you've already met a lot of our resource partners here. But the way that we help support our small businesses education-wise is we work with these resource partners. So next slide, please. The first resource partner I'll talk about briefly is the SCORE mentorship program. We don't have an active mentor here in Wyoming, so we don't have an active chapter, but I do recommend that you go to score.org if you are interested in getting some great resources. They have some documentation available, like to do your cash flow or income statements. They have a lot of resources that are available right there online, and that can help you kind of get that process going. Next slide, please. Another resource partner that we work with is the Small Business Development Center. And since Devin is going to talk a little bit about their resources, we can just move on to the next. Wyoming Women's Business Center, you heard from Alex today. And so they are another one of our outstanding resource partners. Next slide, please. The Veterans Business Outreach Center, we work with them to help veterans and their spouses open their own businesses. So they do trainings, they have resources that are available, as well as our office that has our veterans specialist. So next slide, please. And then Apex Accelerators, they're kind of under the Small Business Development Center umbrella. So I'm sure Devin will talk to you a little bit about them, but they are your go-to for federal contracting. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk a little bit about our loan programs. Go ahead and move forward. Thank you. So we do not compete with our lenders. So we don't direct loan any money. We work with our partner lenders to help them offer competitive terms. Basically, we set guidelines for interest rates. We can extend maturity, and we can also help with collateral. So next slide, please. Here are some reasons that an SBA-backed loan can help you. You can either purchase real estate or inventory. You can use working capital. If you're a seasonal business and you need some like a line of credit to help you get through the lean times, we can help with that. There are a lot of different ways that we can do that. You know, how this works is that you would go to a lender. SBA loans, you have to show that you don't have any credit available elsewhere. So typically, a lender will start gathering your documentation for a conventional loan. We always say to work with your lender as if they were part of your team. So you want to be able to go to them and give them your challenges as well as your glowing parts about your business, and let them help you to determine what kind of SBA loan would be best for you. Can we move to the next slide, please? Go ahead. So microloans, we already heard about from Alex. I have to make a change. Please note that Alex is more on top of it than I am, so her interest rates are better than ours. But you have that information there. Microloans are an SBA-funded program, and the Wyoming Women's Business Center is our intermediary for that program. Next slide. So 7A loans, they are our largest program. They have the most options and the most ways that you can use it. And so it's our largest program. To be eligible for a 7A loan, you need to be a US operating business under the SBA size requirements. And so typically 500 employees or fewer. Most businesses in Wyoming are considered small to SBA standards. Types of ineligible businesses are, you can't be in gambling or anything that's illegal. You can't be in prospecting. So there are just a couple of different things that you want to check on for if your business would be eligible. Like I said before, you are not able to get credit from other sources, and you need to be able to show your credit worthiness and to demonstrate an ability to repay. The next slide, please. Some of the purchases of the loans: you can purchase land or your building, you can expand facilities, remodel, you can purchase machinery and equipment or inventory. We do have long-term working capital. We also have exporting loans if you're interested in growing your business under exporting. Next slide, please. So the maturity of our loans, like I said before, we can expand. So typically, if you're going to a conventional loan, machinery and equipment, you figure that they last anywhere from 5 to 7 years. With SBA, you can extend that maturity up to 10 years. With real estate, we can extend that maturity up to 25 years. Why does that matter? Because that can decrease your monthly loan payment, making it more affordable for a small business to be able to afford that loan. Next, please. Okay, we talked a lot about the 504 program through Kendall's Wyoming Capital Access, so I'm not going to go into this too much. Just to let you know, with SBA, we cannot show favoritism to our lenders, so we're not going to send you to one lender over another. We're going to give you all of your options. Wyoming Capital Access is our administrator or facilitator of this program here in Wyoming. We do also have another lender in Utah, the Mountain West Small Business Finance, that also can assist you with your 504 loans. Next slide, please. One of the programs that we have is the SBIR STTR matching. And one of the great things about this program is you will hear that there is not a whole lot of grant money, especially through the federal government. If you are a business that is doing some prototyping, that you have an invention that you're looking to work with a lab, or you're trying to bring that into fruition, the SBIR program is a grant program that might be able to assist you with that. So this is one of the ways that the government can assist that research and development. Next slide, please. And the final financing project or program that I'm going to talk about is our STEP grant. And what that is that's for exporting. So say you are interested in selling to Canada, to Mexico, to Europe. This is a grant that can kind of help you dip your toe in the water. They can help you pay for trade shows. They can help you pay for marketing, maybe doing some website work to be able to create an exporting section of your business. So this is administered through the Wyoming Business Council, and is a great thing to look into if you're looking at selling outside of the United States. Next slide, please. And this is one thing that SBA, or a lot of people don't realize that SBA does, is we do help mitigate, to help protect your business in the instance of a disaster. So basically, it's about 25% of businesses that they don't reopen after a major disaster because they don't have a plan of action. SBA can help you do that through our website. We have different lesson plans, different structures to be able to help you prepare for that, to be able to get back in business after a disaster happens. Wyoming does see some of these disasters declared. You do have to have a presidential declaration or a governor declaration. Natrona County had a disaster declaration for the flooding that happened not too long ago. Drought is another big one for Wyoming. So we do have that access on our website, and just to be able to help you prepare your business. Next slide, please. And this is just if you would like to let us know what you think about how we're doing, you can go ahead and select that QR code and let us know. Next slide, please. We're on to questions.
Awesome, thank you, Tammy. If you guys have any questions, please stick them in the Q&A box. We'll answer them here while we're all in one place. It's kind of exciting and rare to have all of these great financial minds at one location for all of your questions. So please put them in the Q&A box. If it's a sensitive question to your business, you can reach out to your regional advisor directly, and they can help you find out where to go to answer those questions. I'm just gonna give Devin an opportunity just to talk about the SBDC or anything else that she feels like you guys need to know about us.
Absolutely. I just wanted to run back through and just summarize some of the programs that the Wyoming Small Business Development Center manages and oversees in coordination with our partners such as Wyoming Smart Capital Network, Wyoming Capital Access, our funding partner, the SBA, in addition to the Wyoming Women's Business Center, which is also our partner. Primarily, we are an advising organization, meaning that we provide one-on-one consultation to you for your small business needs, and that can be done in person or virtually. We do travel, we do come to you and try to help you on site meet your needs and overcome hurdles and celebrate successes that your business is experiencing. We also offer fantastic resources for the entire state, including market research. We also offer SBIR STT support for technology innovation, as Tammy alluded to, and we also provide individual support for government contracting clients or potential government contracting clients. And we have experts in all of these departments to help you individually and also through our vast library of trainings, pre-recorded and those live like the one that you're on today. And the way that you can get in contact with any one of these programs is by connecting with an SBDC advisor. And so as you see here on the map, we all have our respective regions, but each of us can serve the entire state in given capacities just to make sure that your needs are being met. Each one of us comes to the table with a different set of background and experience. So you may be connected with someone, another regional director who has experience and can help you very efficiently. And so I'll drop my contact information in the chat today. You can always register for advising in your region just by going to our website. And of course, we are available by phone, email, or our website through our trainings to meet whatever needs you have as they arise. Thank you so much for being on the webinar today. If you do have any last minute questions, please drop them in the chat. We will collect those questions if they come through towards the end or as we're wrapping up. And that way we can contact each of you directly and make sure you get your questions answered. I do believe there was one question that remained in the chat regarding, specifically there was a program, Emily, that you mentioned being specific to certain counties. How can clients determine whether or not the county that they're operating their business in would be eligible for that loan program?
So that information, we do have it on our website. We do have a map that shows those counties, but that's something, honestly, the best thing to do is just give us a call. Sam Weinstein, our development officer, would be the best. He's the one that's actually going to be working on the loans. So he would be the best. He can kind of walk you through what counties and why that is. And that would be the best, honestly. I don't know. Hopefully that answers the question.
Perfect. That does. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I appreciate that. And I did drop Sam's information in the chat as well as yours, and as well as the contact information for the individuals that presented today. That concludes today's webinar. However, if you have any questions whatsoever, we encourage you to reach out to our regional director. We have very close working relationships with all the individuals that presented today and their organizations. And it's our duty to make sure you're connected to those organizations to answer your questions and determine if their programs are the right fit for you and your business. I do hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to working with you and helping you solve your business needs in the future.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for attending. And as you're logging off, be sure to fill out that survey that pops up. That helps us create more great content for you and your business to help serve you better. Have a great afternoon. Thank you to all the presenters for being here today, and we'll see everyone next time.